Hello, Facebook. It's Reid from readaboutsex.com, and my hair is horrible today because I wasn't able to get my hair wet today because I really hit my head hard and bad and kind of split my head open from Intimacy Fest. And as you're signing in saying hi, say hi from wherever you're at. And then if you want to share, like, what's the most inconvenient injury you've ever sustained. I got here yesterday to Intimacy Fest, and we're in Southern California. I'm going to bring you over to where the swimming pool is. But I was so excited to be back here because this is the third year of Intimacy Fest that I dropped my bags off and immediately ran to the swimming pool, which you will see, and it's luxurious. Climbed up onto the diving rock, dove in, and then swam over to the slide, the water slide, and went down the water slide Superman style, like face first, and conveniently forgetting that when I did that last year, there's a dip in the bottom of the water slide that basically has you smack your face into the water slide. And I was in a great Superman position so that I smacked my forehead and basically just split it right open. So, within 8 minutes of being here, I was bleeding, and now I have to wear a Band-Aid. But let me show you. We're in the middle of the desert here. We're like in Argunu, California. But that's the water, the pool behind us. And it's amazing. And that right over there is the rock that I dove off of that way. And then I'll show you the water slide. I'll take you. It's not on right now. But I'm the cautionary tale. And it looks like I will have a good new scar on my forehead, which I wasn't really excited about because I kind of like my face the way it is. But at the same time, I am really lucky I didn't crack my cheekbone or anything. So this is the water slide right here, and it was awesome. It just hurt like a mofo. Give you a little view over here. It's just beautiful. The sun's starting to set. So where am I going to talk to you? You know what? We're going to go to the bridge, and I'll talk to you about what I talked about recently to the Intimacy Fest folks. And I just want to say thanks to Dave, Buddha, and Paula, who created Intimacy Fest, and for having me back. And I teach a bunch of my geeky relationship stuff, and then teach some sexuality stuff as well. But today we were talking about relationships and this idea of love, there we go, love as a form of sacrifice, and relationships, or trying to have a relationship kind of done from this perspective of being attractive. Like you have to have the right kind of job, say the right kind of things, have the right haircut, have the right kind of body to be attractive for a potential mate or something like that. And what I was telling people to reconsider is the idea of, rather than relationships being about attraction, fitting into the box that you're taught or that everybody else is taught around culture, so that you fit in, rather than trying to fit in and be attractive, this idea of living life and having relationships from the idea of self-expression. Like, who is the Reid Mahalko that makes Reid Mahalko the happiest? Like me being more self-expressed and being me, if that happens to not fit into culture's prescribed box, me being the me that makes me happiest, and see who's attracted to me because of that. And this is kind of the beginning of starting to figure out, dating your species. Like, be the you that makes you happiest. Figure out what your needs and boundaries are in relationships that are a good fit, and then the people that are attracted to you because you're being you, and who also share, those overlapping qualities that are a good fit. Like, that's kind of your species, so to speak. But one of the things we were chatting about today during the afternoon lecture was the idea of reframing love not as sacrifice, but as support and self-care. And now some people, had questions about, well, what about, like, you have to sacrifice for your kids, right? And I'm like, well, think about it this way. This is kind of deep thinking, and we're going to head down to the Labyrinth because they've got a labyrinth here. The deep thinking is, if you're being the you that makes you happiest, and take all of what I have to say at, for whatever it's worth. If it doesn't apply to you or you think it's bullshit, just chuck it. Like, you're not broken. These are just ideas to consider. But if you're being the you that makes you happiest, which means you want to be a parent, you want to have kids, then going out of your way to raise tiny adults, and here's the labyrinth, going out of your way to raise tiny human beings, if that's what you've always wanted, or if that's a part of you that you want, to be you that makes you happy, then the work that you have to do to show up to be a parent is kind of fitting into your self-expression. Even if you have to cancel a date night because your kid is sick, yeah, that's inconvenient, but that's not really sacrifice, because you've aligned the life that you're living, or living by design, you've aligned it in such a way that it's that is part of what your goals are, what your priorities are. And so when you're doing something like that, it doesn't really occur as sacrifice. It's just part of the situation where you have to work hard. Take all this with the caveat that I'm kind of approaching life from this perspective of choice. And not everybody has a lot of choice in their lives. Some people had kids and didn't really have as much of a choice as they feel maybe that they had around having kids, or it was expected of them, or whatever. The caveat is, I know I'm saying big, broad statements, but if you imagined you had a choice and there wasn't a penalty for saying no to something, and you wanted to be a parent and have kids, then your kid getting sick and you having to cancel date night, well, that's just part of the plan. Like, that happens sometimes. It's inconvenient, but it's not sacrifice. Sacrifice to me tends to kind of come from this situation where everything's not really so much in alignment, and then you're having to do or be somebody that you don't really want to be, or that doesn't make you super happy. And that's different than having to show up and work hard at something or take care of business because you have a responsibility. So I hope I was able to be articulate around how I'm defining sacrifice. And so the idea, using kids as the example, is showing up for your kids when you really have a deep longing to be a parent. That's just part of being a parent. And then there's like this word play now I'm in my head of being a parent. It's apparent that you're a parent. I thought that was cute. So this idea, when you start to live your life from self-expression, and you're choosing, it's a get to, not a have to, what you want. We just walked through the labyrinth, by the way. If it's a get to, not a have to, then it kind of changes the idea of love. I think love is not so much about sacrifice. It's really about supporting. You're supporting yourself because this is a thing that you want, that's important to you. And so having kids, being a parent, getting to express that piece is actually a kind of self-care, you supporting your own self-expression. And so we kind of went down that rabbit hole of talking about reframing love as a type of support and self-care. So you're taking care of yourself and you support your loved ones, your partners in relationship, in getting the support they need for their self-care, which doesn't mean it has to come from you. And so you get to kind of be each other's cheerleaders and encourage each other to put on your own, oxygen mask first, so to speak, so that you have more resources to show up for each other for a relationship that you actually want to be in. And then love doesn't become about sacrifice. Love becomes about support and being in service to this part of you that makes you happy. That's about self-expression and choice. And then when living life isn't about trying to be attractive, but being yourself, and the people that you're sharing your life with want to be there too. They want to share it with you because they are also being themselves. Then the last piece that we talked about is not making relationships about duration. You're not measuring the success of a relationship by how long you've been together. You measure the success of the relationship by rather than duration, it's depth. You measure how true and how real you're being with each other. And those three things, when you start to kind of look at life from what can be kind of a radical perspective, you're actually being yourself, which is vulnerable because then if people don't like you, they really don't like you. It's your authentic you that they don't like. So rejection can feel more vulnerable, whereas if you're just trying to fit in to the box of the world culture prescribes, and they reject you, well, they rejected you trying to fit in. They didn't really reject you. But unfortunately, that doesn't allow people to fall in love with you for who you really are. And I just want to give you a sign of the gates here at the campground that we're at. And I think it's Aguanga, California. So I hope that all made sense. And I hope this was a nice little walk that you got to go on today. And I'm excited that we actually had cell phone reception here at the ranch that we're at Club Martin, also known as Short Branch Ranch, I guess. Although that might be an old... Here we go. We're back. I'm sorry, I walked off the property far enough that we lost reception. So I'm going to leave it here. I'm going to bring it in for a landing. I just wanted to show you where I am today. Show you the beautiful desert sunset. Or it's starting to sunset. It's not really close yet. So leave your ideas. What do you think about these concepts? I've been teaching these concepts for several years now. Some of them appear in Neil Strauss's book. No, I just forgot the book. Shoot. Gosh darn it. Is it The Gift? Maybe? But yeah, these have been things I've been talking about for a while and talk about in Date Your Species and whatnot. But today, especially, we're just kind of diving and talking about, love as a form of support and self-care. And I wanted to know what your thoughts are on that. That's going to be it. I'm going to leave you now with a quick little shot of the pool behind us. And now I'm going to say goodbye. Bye.